Good morning, welcome to today's video. It only took me a little over a month to get to this, but we are gonna do a little Q&A today, just kind of a little catching up, answer your guys' questions. These are literally from September 4th, so some of these were like first trimester related. They're gonna be updated because obviously I'm further along now. I'm gonna be 23 weeks on Thursday, and yeah, let's just get right on into it. Oh, this is a very good question. What's the first video you'll show the kiddos when they want to see them someday? I guess it depends what they want to see. I assume they would want to see the birth vlog, but who knows? I feel like I would have been interested in seeing that because like I grew up always hearing my mom tell stories about what that looked like, and I mean, I don't think I would record one that's like too in-depth the second time around, but I really liked the way I documented the first birth vlog, so I assume that's kind of what I'll do this time. Me as a kid, I think I would have loved to see that just to have kind of like an idea of what that day looked like when I entered the world, but I don't know. I guess whatever they're interested in seeing. I love watching old videos of my brothers as little kids, seeing my mom and dad when they were younger. I love all home videos, so it's hard for me to answer that because I'd want to see all of them. Who knows what they'll be interested in. How early did you start showing with baby number 2? You guys, I literally feel like I started showing immediately. That was the not hardest part about this pregnancy. The hardest part was being sick for a little over 10 weeks. I didn't start feeling better until 16 weeks this time. I feel like I started showing literally around like 7-8 weeks. It was so weird though. I looked more pregnant at like 11 weeks than I did at 12 or 13 weeks. I would go from being really bloated and feeling like I had a really big belly already to then it would kind of shrink back down. But I definitely feel like I started showing a lot sooner this time. How did you manage to stay on top of everything through the first trimester? I don't think I did. I did my absolute best, but I definitely was not on top of everything. Our house was a little bit more messy because I didn't spend the extra time I had cleaning, organizing, but there were certain things that just had to be done. That's kind of like, I can't take sick days when I own my own business. At the end of the day, certain things have to be done. Chris needs time to work, so I had to be with Emmy. But thankfully this time around, I was able to work out the whole first trimester. When I was pregnant with Emmy, I feel like there was a lot of times where I only worked out like 1 or 2 days a week in the first trimester because it just made me feel worse this time around. Working out in the morning, I felt fine. I definitely had to modify a lot, and I reeled back the intensity because I was nauseous, but workouts didn't affect me nearly as much as they did last time. Sorry, our nanny's texting me right now, sending me pictures. They're on a little outing, and Emmy's having so much fun playing with these little cars. Anyway, yeah, there's just certain things that have to be done, and that is the one. Like there's a lot of questions are here like how has it been being pregnant this time with a toddler versus last time when you didn't have any kids yet. Obviously the first time around you can rest when you need to rest. When you have a toddler running around, that's not really an option. But I honestly think even though some days it was really challenging, I much prefer this over before, because it makes it go by so much faster. You don't have time to sit and think about how crappy you feel. You just kind of got to keep chugging along. And so I think Emmy has made this experience go by a lot faster. I can't believe I'm going to be 23 weeks this week. Like, that's weird to me. It's flying by. Did you do anything to prep for pregnancy? I should have prefaced this by saying a lot of these are pregnancy related, so sorry if you're not interested in that. There are definitely some non-pregnancy questions, but it's a lot of postpartum and pregnancy because that's been the season of life I've been in for the past 2 years. Do anything to prepare for pregnancy? We basically did the same thing as we did last time when we tried to get pregnant. So I had just stopped fully weaning breastfeeding when we started trying. So I still wasn't consuming any alcohol just because Chris stopped. He always sits in the sauna and the hot tub. That's not good for sperm. So he stopped sitting in the sauna and hot tub. I was taking my prenatal again. What else? I feel like that's really it. Yeah, stopping breastfeeding. My hormones had definitely started. There was a weird transition period where my hormones were not adjusted after breastfeeding, and I was ovulating at different times. So I did start to track my ovulation, which I wasn't doing prior. And yeah, taking the prenatal, Chris adjusted a little bit, and we ended up getting pregnant our 4th month trying, or 5th month trying, 4th or 5th. Okay, I'm glad this question's in here a couple times. Can you come out with a pregnancy/postpartum workout guide? I am not going to do that. One, I'm not certified to do that. And two, everyone's pregnancy journey and postpartum journey are so different depending on how active you were pre-pregnancy, and depending on what your labor and delivery looks like. Your postpartum experience is also going to be very different. So I feel like that's very personal. I don't think coming out with a workout guide, like, it would definitely be beneficial for some women. I feel like doing a one-on-one program would be more beneficial because it's catered to you, your experience, your pregnancy, or your postpartum journey. Having a, not cookie cutter, but just like a simplified program could be good, just focusing on like specific core exercises and stuff to help repair your core or try to keep it as intact as possible during pregnancy. That would be beneficial. But in terms of like doing other exercises, depending on how you carry a baby, certain exercises might be more comfortable for you, or you can't do them. Like when I tend to carry low, even walking on a treadmill sometimes causes me more pain. So like the Stairmaster is more comfortable for me. Certain days, like single leg or alternating leg exercises hurt, once again, because I'm carrying low, so my pelvis tends to hurt a little bit more. It differs so much pregnancy to pregnancy. So that is why I personally don't necessarily have interest in coming out with guide, and I'm not certified in prenatal and postnatal. I obviously have my like general education on all of it and my personal experience. So anyone who does my normal programs, they can message me within the app, and I give them lots of modification options that are tailored towards them. I just feel like doing a program would be really hard because everyone's so different. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about that. How long did you do YouTube before getting monetized? When I had Rico helping edit videos, him and I would talk about this frequently. I want to say I was posting consistently for definitely 2, possibly 3 years before I made a cent off of YouTube. So you have to make like their minimum payout amount is $100, and it's all through Google AdSense. So basically, people clicking on ads during your videos, how long they're watching ads during your videos, all of that stuff comes into play. Obviously, views help because that's more eyeballs looking at those ads. So I was able to monetize basically from the beginning, but that didn't mean I was making money from the beginning. I did it for like 2 or 3 years without making a cent. I wasn't in it for the money. I just really enjoyed it. I loved documenting my bodybuilding journey, and then I got certified as a personal trainer. And then I think I had already started to make a little bit of money off YouTube by then. Yeah, I didn't get into this for the money. So it's crazy now because it's obviously changed so much since I started. Now people specifically want to make this a career. Whereas before, like, that would have been really cool, but that was by no means my plan, I guess. Like, I would have never imagined this would be our life. It's kind of crazy. But that's the one thing I really like about YouTube. I feel like it weeds out the people who are here for the right reasons and like the genuine people for the most part, unless you have people just doing like viral videos, like crazy challenges over and over again just to get a ton of views. Anyway, you have to stay very consistent with YouTube. Like, it takes a lot of work on the back end, recording, editing. You just have to stay super consistent in order to reap the benefits from it. And it's definitely worth it in the end if you do stick with it and if you really love it, but you have to really love it in order for it to feel like it's worth it, because it is a lot of work. And I don't think you would enjoy yourself if you didn't enjoy recording. If this felt forced, I just think you'd be miserable. Not that that was the question, but that's my thought on that. Yeah, I want to say 2 or 3 years before I actually made any money. And even then, it's not much. It's not enough to live off of. You have to have other streams of income coming through, whether that's like another business that you've started. Like I have my personal training business and we have Worth It. So obviously we're making money through that. And then if you have sponsors, that's another way to make money, but that's not as reliable because those can always change. How do you cope with pregnancy, nausea, hate throwing up? Makes me so nervous. I'm with you. Throwing up is literally my least favorite thing ever. I thankfully didn't throw up from pregnancy with Emmy or with this baby so far. I did throw up early on in this pregnancy because we got food poisoning, and that was the worst thing ever. Before I realized it was food poisoning, I was like, if this is pregnancy related, because it started at like 5 weeks, I was like, or 4 weeks even maybe. It happened early, and I was like, oh my, I was terrified. Like if this is gonna be the whole first trimester, I quit. I can't do this, this is awful. Turned out just to be food poisoning. I don't wanna say just food poisoning, because that was probably the most awful thing I've ever experienced in terms of being sick. Wouldn't wish that on anyone. Terrible. But B6 and Unisum can help. Magnesium can help. I know a lot of people, their nausea and specifically nausea and like morning sickness can be a magnesium deficiency. So taking magnesium can help. That didn't help me a ton. I tried that as soon as I realized that could be a thing. And that didn't really help me much. Nothing really helped me first trimester, unfortunately. But B6, Unisum, and magnesium. And then eating small, frequent meals, so not letting yourself get too full or too hungry can help. So crackers, keeping like little snacks around that are just very easy on your stomach. So bread, bananas, crackers, easy things like that. And always having something in your system helps a ton. Okay. There's a bunch of questions about working out while pregnant, tips, and just like how do I modify while pregnant. I'm actually talking about this and I'm recording a vlog today as well. Taking advantage of the time we have a nanny. So I'm just gonna talk about modifications while pregnant. All of the workouts I'm doing right now are either my fit and functional workouts or like the 30-minute workouts. Those are just essentially a shortened version of the fit and functional one, or I take alpha conditioning. So alpha conditioning, there's a lot more cardio and core exercises involved. And in general, being in a prone position, so with your like face towards the floor versus being facing up in a supine position, anytime you're facing down, I feel like you have a lot more control over your core. So for instance, if you were to see an exercise that was like V-ups. So you're laying supine and you're like, anything that's really causing a lot of tension on your core, immediately find a modification, because it's hard to engage your core for an extended period of time, even when you're not pregnant, let alone when you literally have a tiny little human in there separating your abs to make room to grow. So anytime there's any exercise that is putting a lot of tension on your core and you notice that you have coning, so you'll be able to tell if you look down and you see that your stomach versus it being like flat has kind of a point to it, or what they call coning, you want to modify. Whether that's bringing your feet in closer, moving to like single arm or single leg movement, or like I said, flipping over into a prone position. You could modify by doing something as simple as diaphragmatic breathing. You're breathing out, and then when you exhale, you're contracting everything and like bracing and wrapping your whole core. That's one of the best things I did when I was pregnant with Emmy. I feel like it helped really keep my core in place. Another really big thing with any exercise you're doing, you should be doing that. You should be making sure you're engaging your core, even if you're doing like a shoulder press. You don't want your back to be arched. You want to always keep a tight core, and like you're rounding your hips and tucking in your ribs almost. So you want to feel like you're wrapping your core always. But if you ever notice any coning, that is your first sign telling you that you should modify. And like I said, typically moving from a supine position, aka when you're facing up, to a prone position when you're facing down, facing the floor, doing like alternating bird dogs, you're typically able to engage your core a lot easier in that prone position. So instead of doing, like, for example, if there's V-ups in my program or in alpha conditioning, I'll turn over so that I'm prone, I'm on all fours. I'll do like alternating shin taps. You could just do a plank, or you could drop to your knees in a plank. And then as for other exercises, it's kind of just feeling it out. If it feels good to you, keep doing it. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it and find a modification. So core exercises mainly, I feel like that's the bulk of the questions. But as for other exercises, it might change day to day for you. It changes day to day for me sometimes. But in general, focus on your core. If you notice any, focus on your core during exercises and realize, like, I'm having a hard time contracting my core during this or keeping it from coning or whatever, then modify. If you're able to keep your core contracted and you're not feeling any of that like extra tension, you're probably good to do it. But it's really listening to your body and focusing on what it's doing to your core, the effect on your core. As for cardio, I personally don't run. Like I said, I carry low, and that tends to hurt my pelvis a little bit more just because the extra pressure. Stairmaster is actually way easier for me. Sounds so silly, but it's less impact rather than like walking on an incline. So if I'm gonna do longer cardio sessions, I'll normally do the Stairmaster on a very low speed. Depending on the day, I'll walk a little bit, but if I walk too much, it was the exact same with Emmy. My pelvis starts to hurt just because of the impact of that. That was a very long answer. Hopefully that helped. I literally have to talk about this in the vlog. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, hopefully that helped. Managing, keeping up with a toddler during first trimester. I already kind of answered this, but just in general, I honestly think it helps the time go by faster. When I was really feeling sick, thankfully Chris was able to help a little bit and give me a little bit more rest. I did definitely in the first trimester nap more often when she was napping, just to try to give myself a little bit more energy to get through the day. But yeah, you just kind of survive some of those days. Are you nervous about postpartum depression again? I struggled as well. That's a great question and something I've obviously given quite a bit of thought, because I did struggle a lot the first time around. I truly think that, I mean, who's to say I wouldn't have had it if Emmy didn't have colic or reflux, but I think a lot of my postpartum depression and like rage came from being a first-time mom. That's already a really hard transition, and then her having colic and reflux. She was just a very unhappy baby because she was very uncomfortable. She had reflux that was really bad. We ended up getting her on medication. She only ended up having to be on that for like a month. So we dealt with the reflux without that for quite a while, and obviously that was causing her pain. So she was just crying a lot. The colic made her cry a lot. So it just made the transition a lot harder for me. So I'm not really worried about it at all this next time. I feel like I've just really evolved as a person and as a mom. One, I'm not afraid to ask for help, or I will not feel nearly as guilty asking for help as I did the first time around. Mom guilt is something that is very challenging in the beginning. I'm sure I'll still struggle with it here. I mean, it took me a long time to even look into a part-time nanny, because that same mom guilt, I'm like, I just want to be with her all the time. I feel guilty when I'm not with her. But I just feel like Chris and I have evolved. We've adjusted to our new roles very well, and we have a lot more patience now. Like, it's amazing the growth you go through when you have a baby. Chris and I both thought we had patience, and then we had this crying little baby that was uncomfortable and fussy, and we realized very quickly how little patience we had. So after going through that and knowing that we can get through it, and although sometimes the days feel very, 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 very long, in the big picture, it really does go by pretty quickly. So Chris and I have very low expectations for baby girl number 2. If she ends up being colicky and has reflux again, we know we can get through it. We know we have a strong support system around us. We're gonna have a nanny still helping 3 days a week, which is really nice. And then we have our family that we see on the weekends. So no matter what, even if we are struggling, we have help. And once again, I think the main thing is that we know that we've gotten through it before and we can do it again. It's possible. And yeah, so that's another long-winded answer. Sorry. Oh my gosh, I talk way too much. Long story short, no, I'm not worried about it. Is it something I'm going to be more aware of this time? Yes. If I feel myself kind of going to that place, I don't think I'm going to be as hesitant to ask for help. Last time we asked for help, but it was different. Like, our parents still work full-time jobs. So even if we did ask for help, they could only help on the weekends most of the time. It's just going to be different this time. We're going to have the nanny, and once again, Chris and I have already been through it, so I feel like we're just going to be a way better support system for each other. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely feel way more at peace and more confident in our abilities during the next postpartum journey. And I still, like, I think we did a really good job given the circumstances, enjoying and like being present for every single moment when Emmy was a newborn. Like, there are definitely times that I wouldn't want to go back to any of them, because I feel like we truly did like soak it all in because we were with her every single day. But I do think this next time around, I'll be able to enjoy the moments a little bit more, because I won't have as much anxiety and my own feelings that I'm trying to deal with and adjustments I'm trying to make. I know there's going to be tough times going from 1 to 2, but I am pretty confident that it's going to be a more enjoyable and more like relaxed experience this time. So in short, no, I'm not worried about it, but I am going to be on the lookout for like symptoms of that, I guess, and make sure to take care of myself as best I can to manage those feelings. How do the BOWMAR greens taste? Do they have a grassy aftertaste? I don't think so. They have 3 different flavors. They have matcha, lemon, and the berry greens. They're all really good. The matcha can kind of go with anything. The berry greens, I feel like, are a little bit limited to what you can mix them with if you want to mix them with anything. I would probably just drink the berry greens by themselves. They have a very good flavor. I typically like the lemon the best because I'll usually mix it into like a big drink. So I'll do like the clear skin cocktail, and I feel like lemon mixes well with all of the flavors. But no, I don't think they have a grassy taste. But yeah, I'll do the greens, and then the reds and purples just have like a very muted berry taste essentially. We need an updated Chris Lulu haul. He's been asking, so that will be coming. Comment down below what you'd want him to try, like if you want it to be a general like fall winter haul, or if there's specific items you want him to try. Car seat and stroller recommendations. Pregnant with my first. Congratulations. We got 2 separate ones. So we had the UPPAbaby as our main stroller, and then we got the Doona as our like travel stroller. So Chris had the Doona in his car, and then I had the UPPAbaby in mine. We love the UPPAbaby still. The main reason for getting that was because we knew we wanted to have multiple kids close in age, and everyone said that the UPPAbaby converted very easily to a double stroller. So we got the UPPAbaby. Love it. I need to get the little converter thing to change it into a double stroller, but it's held up really well. It literally still looks brand new. And I even got like it's like a charcoal, not a charcoal, the lighter gray color. I feel like it's easy to clean. Chris spilled his coffee all over it. Car seat's easy to clean. So yeah, we got the UPPAbaby and then the Doona. Love them both. Let's see. Other than chasing a 1-year-old around, how has this pregnancy been different? It's honestly just flying by. Like, I've started showing a lot sooner. I was sick a lot longer, which was unfortunate, but it is what it is. Overall, I've had less anxiety. That's not true. I had a lot more anxiety in the beginning of the pregnancy just because, I don't know, almost in my head, I'm like, we had such an easy time last time. Like my pregnancy was pretty seamless aside from like the ultrasound hiccup that ended up being fine. And in my head, it's like there's so many things that have to happen for your baby to come out. For one, for you to get pregnant. 2, for you to make it through the first trimester. 3, to have a healthy, you know, pregnancy and baby. And I have these like ratios in my head of like 1 in 4 pregnancies have 1 in 4 pregnancies experience miscarriage. And in my head, I was super anxious the first trimester, just thinking like I had those ratios in my head, and I don't know, I was a lot more anxious just knowing how many things have to like go right, and I was more educated about things. But since making it through the first trimester, definitely after having my anatomy scan, even going into my anatomy scan this time, I surprisingly just felt more at peace with everything. And I even had to wait a week in between having the 20-week ultrasound and hearing from my doctor. And the whole time I just, in my head, I'm like, I know everything's fine. I know it's all good. And so yeah, after getting out of the first trimester, I've had less anxiety. First trimester, I had a lot more. What else did I miss? A sick longer. And then yeah, just because we have Emmy and a lot of other like business things going around, I feel like it's flown by. I feel like that's really it so far. Those are the main differences. See if we have one more question. I mean, there's a lot more questions, but answer one more. I'm so out of breath from talking. This is a good question. Will you upgrade to a bigger vehicle before baby comes? No, that was the main reason. People liked to make comments when I got my car. Oh gosh, when was that now? Also like 2 years ago? Yeah, I think 2 years ago. That like, why was I getting that big of a car? Whatever. Once again, we knew we wanted multiple kids close in age. So my car has plenty of room for 2 car seats. Then we still have the 3rd row in the back. Chris's car is my old car because it was fully paid off. There was no reason to buy another car at the same time. So he has my old SRX. That one is definitely a little bit of a tighter fit. It's still an SUV, it's just a little bit smaller when, you know, after we've gotten used to my newer one. But it will still fit 2 car seats in the back. Eventually he wants to get a bigger truck. We want a truck in general, so we have more bed space to haul things, like move things if we need. And I grew up with trucks. So we know we want a truck eventually, but we're definitely not going to be getting another car before baby girl arrives. My car fits 2, totally fine, and we still have the back seat. And then Chris's car, it's just going to be him and the baby's in the back. And then like I have room to sit in the front, obviously, but the SRX is only 2 rows. That one's a little bit more of a tight squeeze, but we're not going to get another car before. Eventually, will we have to upgrade? Probably, because the 3rd row in my car is definitely very tight, and I don't even know how I would fit a car seat back there, let alone like thinking of for me to get back there to strap them in. I'm sure it would fit, like if I got a slim fit one, but yeah, down the road we'll probably need a bigger car. Chris will definitely need one, but for right now, what we have will do. We purposely planned ahead for that when we got my car, and so yeah, Lulu's just laying right in front of me and looks so cute. Are you tired? All right, that is gonna be it for the video. Holy cow, lots of pregnancy questions. Hopefully if you weren't interested in pregnancy related questions, you didn't watch this. And if you were, hopefully I answered your questions. If you have any more, comment down below. I need to get back to doing these more often. I feel like I hardly ever do Q&As now. But I will see you guys in the next video. Like I said, I'm vlogging today, so I assume this will go up and then the vlog will go up after. Oh, I forgot I still have to post that Halara haul. Lots of videos to come.